Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to MotoGP 18, and welcome to Silverstone. So, as always, interesting race. I say that, I realized, almost every race. This is an interesting race. Well, this was an interesting race. I qualified P4, and there was, I believe, 3/4 of a second, 7/10 of a second between first and 10th. I was about 2/10 back from first. And it's all just the regular crowd that's always up at the top. Kane, Bezecchi, Jorge Martin, myself. I had a decent start. I think I slipped back to about 6th, but I was doing all right. And I have to say, this is the first time I feel like I've really blown it on settings. I was okay in qualifying, I realized, because the precision, the bike is really not precise. It's got a ton of understeer on entry. It's got oversteer on exit. It's wobbling under braking. It's just really not precise. And that wasn't a problem in qualifying because I had the whole track. But as I'm trying to work with other riders and not crash myself out, it is a problem. It becomes a problem. So you can see all this correcting that I'm doing, and yeah, I feel like, you know, I say it, I wouldn't say I say it all the time, but I do sort of joke about, you know, I threw it away on setup. And I feel like this is the first time I actually did throw it away on setup. And it is frustrating because Silverstone is one of my favorite tracks. I really like the track a lot. I know the track, and it's weird, I don't know why, because the layout is the same, but in MotoGP you start from the start finish, and the pit is on the other side of the track, opposite to the F1 setup. But it is the same layout, so it's the same lap. It's just, I don't know, something about it is a little bit disorienting to see the clock ticking down and to see a new lap kick over when you're on the, I guess, the back stretch of the F1 track, which is the front stretch of the MotoGP course. So that's a little bit weird, but other than that, I know the track, I know the timing, and it was just really frustrating because I thought I would do well here, and then after qualifying, I thought, well, you know, well, it's not P1, but we'll do okay. We'll do okay. Now when I was doing the setup, I felt like acceleration was a problem, so I did increase acceleration, which is just regearing, and what it did was I was just running out of top gear at the end of the long straight down through Chapel. I was just running out of top gear, but then I thought, like, maybe I was running out of it a little too early. It's right at the end here, like right about there I would hit the rev limiter, and I guess how do I want to say this, it was like I was cheating the timing. You see how wide I go there on that exit? It's like I was trying to cheat the timing. I know what I want to say in my head. I'm trying to think how I want to say this. Because I wasn't carrying enough momentum and enough speed through turns, I was trying to accelerate out of them faster because I was going through them too slow in the first place. And as a result, I was gearing lower and losing top end on the straights because I should have just been carrying more speed in the first place rather than trying to, right? I think that makes sense. I'm saying I didn't need to re-gear and lose the speed on the straights. I needed to get these lines right. And had I carried more speed out of the turns, not only would I have not needed to re-gear, but I would have hit the rev limiter much sooner on the long straights. I think I said that right. It's really early here. Really early here. And we have some more coffee. So it was a fun race. For sure it was a fun race. I felt like the field didn't spread out the way it normally does. So I had the pain train right behind me virtually the whole race. And I kept slipping back. I get up to P4. I want to say I'm in P4 right now. Well, P5 at the moment, but we'll get him back under braking. But I got up to P4, and then the top three, Kane, Bezecchi, and Martin, just gradually pulled out about a 3-second gap on me. and I never did catch up. I spent the rest of the race fighting with P5 and P6. They were constantly making moves on me, and I never really shook the pain train. Man, some of these lines are so frustrating to watch on replay because I know I'm scrubbing off speed and wasting time and distance going that wide, but I also know how many times I had to lift and had to make those corrections mid-corner, and it just kills a lap. I mean, I feel like I was, 0.2 of a second behind Bezecchi had pole. I was 0.2 of a second behind in qualifying, so I felt like, it wasn't that bad. My setup wasn't that bad. I threw it away somewhere, whether it was the timing or however it worked out. So I'm just chasing. Now, where I really have a problem is, and I feel like I give up probably honestly like 1 second per lap, is going down into Brooklands and Luffield. That really kills me, and I get past there. It's an 8-lap race, long lap at Silverstone. It's an 8-lap race. I get past there probably 6 laps out of 8, just from the way I kind of, bobble it. But Silverstone is fun. It's this weird combination of super high speed and also a technical track. I mean, it's not Monaco or anything, but it's got so many technical sections, and then it's got these long sweeping fast turns and also long straights. Yeah, just wide every time. I can't defend the apex, and I mean, it's good. I want a game to be challenging, but it can be, it'll drive you crazy. Hang on, let me hit the vape. Now, I don't know if we're getting into tire wear yet. I don't know if you get into tire wear on a 250. I imagine you would. I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't be a factor, and I can't see why it would be hard to code that. So I assume there is tire wear here. I just don't know if it's really noticeable yet. I mean, it's when you're setting up the bike, you can tell your engineer you're having problems with tire wear. I feel like it's probably, spoiler alert, it's probably lap 6. It feels like the tires are going away because the lap is just so terrible. But then 7 and 8, it's fine. Or maybe not fine, but it's no worse than lap 5. So I feel like lap 6 was just me. Yeah. And what's happening is I'm having such horrible understeer on exit. I'm drifting so wide that I'm trying to cheat further in on entry, right? So I have more room to drift wide, and then just hitting curbs, and I mean, when you get it, either the setup or your actual line, it's like when you get it, it feels so good, and when you're not getting it, it just feels so terrible. So I thought tires were going away, but then it came right back, so I don't think it was tires. Yeah, man, all over the place. And I've done just a couple practice Grand Prix on Moto2 bikes to sort of get a feel. If they offer me a contract at the end of this Moto3 season, I do want to take it and move up to Moto2. So I've been experimenting with the different bikes to see what they feel like and how they handle which one I prefer. And now the other thing is, it's the same topic, I'm not jumping around that badly, but if I start another season in Moto3, I don't know if they can offer to bump me up to Moto2 mid-season. I don't think they can because the points would be all screwy. I mean, I'd get experience in Moto2. I'm talking in real life, to get bumped up to Moto2 in the middle of the season. I guess if you were contending for the Moto3 points championship, you might be reluctant to move up to Moto2 and not get that Moto3 title, but at the same time, the opportunity to move up to Moto2 might trump that, and you would just take the offer. So what I'm saying is, if I don't get an offer from one of the Moto2 teams with a whip that I like, I might stay in Moto3, but I don't know that they have a way to move up to Moto2 mid-season. So I think I'd be committed to Moto3 for another year. And we've been on there's just KTM and Honda in Moto2. There's a lot of different, I wouldn't call them off brands, but they're not mainline brands available in Moto2. They seem like more engineering companies than motorcycle manufacturers, but it's not something you're going to see in a dealership. I mean, you see KTM, you see Honda when you go down to the shop on the corner, but some of those other bikes in Moto2 you don't see. So I've been on everything. I mean, they're different teams, but I've been on the two that are available in Moto3, and there's like half a dozen available in Moto2. So I'll experiment with those. If we get a good offer, we'll take it. I mean, I assume we'll take it anyway. 19 races is a long season for Moto3. I don't know that we... Right there. This has got to be lap 6. So 19 races is a long season. I don't know that we want to go through Moto3 again. So we will most likely take any Moto2 offer that we get and just kind of roll with it and see if we get moved to another team then mid-season. We should. I don't know. I can tell you the Moto2 is harder than Moto3, and I assume that MotoGP, like top tier, is going to be harder still. In practice at Silverstone, it's the first time I've ever thrown a bike away under braking. It's the first time it's happened. I've high-sided, I've slid out, I've crashed out on other riders, but I've never... Silverstone is the first, and it's actually going into Brooklands is where it happened, but it's the first time I've ever had a bike just get so squirrely under braking that it threw away. So I assume, I assume Moto2 will be, to do a season like that will be even more challenging. Although you get used to the bike and you start to figure out setup a little bit. So we'll see. Now I also noticed, and this was something I hadn't noticed before because I hadn't needed it, but there's no way to default the bike back to just base setup. Once you've got a setup loaded or once you've made changes, they're in. And I guess sort of stuck with them. I don't know. I never found an option for just baseline setup. What you could do as a workaround is when you start the weekend, before you've made any changes to the bike, save it as default. Do a setup save as default. Oy. And then make your changes and save that as something else. So we'll see. And I don't know where we're going next. This is round 11? No, this is round 12. I don't know where we're going next, but I think this finish, and obviously we are not going to win this race. We're just a couple minutes out from being done. We're not going to win this race. I have not seen where we are in points. I went directly from the race finish to the replay. So we'll see our point standings together. And whether or not, I mean, it was going to be tight to make up. We were in P2 in the Riders' Championship. It was going to be tough to get our way to first and stay there with 8 races left. It's really going to be hard. We may be in the top 3, but as consistently as those other riders are finishing, we would need to, I think we're 25 points back. So we would more or less need to win every race. I said that last week. We would need to win every race for the rest of the season and pick up the 5-point delta every round to make up 25. And we'd have 7 rounds to do it. Right? You see what I'm getting at. It would have been very tight to make up 25 points in 7 races. But with this, I mean, it's not terrible. I think we may even still be in second in the Riders' Championship, but we've got our work cut out for us. I know as I was bumping up the AI, I was thinking, I don't want to make it too hard. I don't want to make it too easy. And I felt like after those several wins in a row, several podiums in a row, I thought, this is just a done deal. We're going to cruise. And now I'm not so sure. I think it is going to be definitely a more uncertain outcome as far as how we finish. But we'll do our best. And still learning the game, still learning it, and still really, really enjoying it. So this is, if this isn't lap 8, then we're about to start lap 8. Yeah, I know, I hate it, and it's embarrassing. It's not okay. No means no. So this is lap 8 we just started. And, you know, I did ultimately get the rhythm for Maggots and Beckett's. Sorry, that is not... that we didn't just cross start finish. So we may be on lap 8 right now. Yep, I think we are. Yeah, because that's... was that Brooklyn's? No. Coming up. Yeah, I just never... Brooklyn's and Luffield, I just never got the timing. Then wide again. Can't defend the apex. Ugh. So then this will be lap 8 that we're starting. This actually is a good lap. This is a good final lap, good last lap. Scrap, brawl. That, I mean, when I have oversteer and understeer at the same time, my natural inclination is to think I'm just pushing way too hard. But the problem with that theory is we're getting hammered on every lap. So to me, that comes down to setup. You know, if I'm riding the bike too hard and getting passed, then something is wrong. Something is, you know. And I felt like I had a better line in qualifying. So I don't know. I don't know. Learning the game. All right, so we got back to P6. We're in P5 right now. We're going to try to pass this gangster and hold on for P4. Not like that. Right. It throws me every time because when we go through the F1, every time we go through the F1 front straight, I think that's the end of the lap, and it's just so weird to switch my mind over to the start finish being on the other side. Better. It's like I got it together on the last lap. Not completely. I'd like to see... well, I guess I could switch to it manually, but it's a little too late now. Just how badly I struggle through Brooklyn's here. Every time. They capture the bumps on the track really well, too. You can't... I don't know if you can tell in the replay, but it's a really bumpy track, and it really tries to throw you around. So back to P5. Yeah, that's the finish right there. So back to P5. There we go. So there's our usual suspects up front. Canet, Martin, Bezzecchi, and now Antonelli. He's new. And let's see where we are on the points. Oh, to third. So yeah, 32 points back. I don't think we can make up 32 points in 6 races. I don't know. Anyway, folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of MotoGP from Silverstone. We'll see you next time. Take care now.